What Lonzo Thinks is a wide-ranging discussion where I talk about everything from music, sports, movies, politics, current events. You name it, if it's happening, I'm talking about it. And today is September 7th, the first day of the NFL football season. It is on. It starts tonight. New England taking on Kansas City. Patriots versus the Chiefs on NBC. Kickoff at some time, I guess around 8 o'clock or so. Either way, y'all be there. Check the game out, because I won't. Because today starts my boycott for the first week of the NFL season. Now, I am a huge football fan. I love football, college and NFL. Just love it. And the first day of the NFL football season is like a holiday to me. That first Sunday especially. But now since the season usually starts on Thursdays, today is kind of like a nice precursor to the weekend where you get your overload of football between college and pro. And it just feels like Christmas. If you're a sports fan, if you're an NFL fan, it's kind of like a second Christmas. And it's bittersweet for me because I'm going to skip NFL football this weekend and find something else to do. Why? A number of different reasons. But the number one reason is, yes, this whole Colin Kaepernick blackball issue is real and is not going away. And I know that most people are going to tune in and watch. And I mean, that's their business. No shade, no animosity towards anyone who chooses to watch football this weekend or the rest of the season. Nothing wrong with that. If you like it, you like it. But sometimes a wise person once said, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. So I'm making my own little personal stand, and I will boycott the first week of the NFL season to show solidarity for once in regards to the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. Of course, the NAACP has called for a boycott, and I'm very supportive of that organization for obvious reasons. There have been a lot of vocal pundits out there who have expressed their displeasure towards the NFL owners particularly, for blackballing Colin Kaepernick when he is clearly qualified to have one of the starting and or backup quarterback positions in the NFL. He is by far the most qualified unemployed football player on earth right now. And that is just not right for a number of different reasons, most notably because he chose to kneel for the national anthem in protest of the inequality when it comes to black citizens in the United States. Ain't none of this shit new. None of it. We know it goes down. We tried to deny it. Well, let me take that back. White people tried to deny it. Sweep it under the rug, say it doesn't exist, or that we're being overly emotional, or he's disrespecting the flag, he's disrespecting the military, disrespecting the police, and all that crap. He's not disrespecting anyone or anything. He is expressing his right through peaceful protest. He took a knee. He's not out causing any kind of riots or anything, or trying to rile up anyone to do anything violent. He's merely making a silent protest, bringing light to the fact that there's inequality when it comes to the racial dynamic in the United States, especially when it comes to policing. And once again, none of this is new. It's been around forever, but now it's just more prevalent because of the advent of technology and video and the internet. These things that have been happening for decades are now being caught on camera. And we know all the different situations with Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, and all the other people who have been brutally murdered, Philando Castile, by police when white people are not being shot down in the street by police ad nauseum. It just ain't happening. And if it is happening, we're not catching it on video, that's for certain. And I think what happened with Michael Bennett back on August 26th when he was in Vegas for the Mayweather-McGregor fight, which has just come to light, the video of him being restrained by the police, and he's saying that he didn't do anything wrong. He was just a black man in the wrong place at the wrong time because there was shots fired or something, and the police attacked him because he's a big black man, and the police were saying that he ran or whatever. I'm sure it would all get sorted out, but Michael Bennett, being a famous football player, it's more is being brought to light in regards to that as well. So a lot of different dynamics are going on in regards to sports, politics, the racial divide, all the things that are going on in America right now. They're just so noteworthy and such hot button issues that everyone is very passionate about on both sides. And rightfully so, because everyone has a legitimate beef. The people who are upset with Kaepernick, they have a right to be upset because this is America, and they have the right to take what he did personally if they so choose. If they take it as an affront to the military, then there's nothing that I can say that's going to change that. And the fact that I don't feel that is an affront to the military, especially being a military veteran myself, doesn't mean that the next person doesn't feel that way. And I respect that. But at the same time, Colin should be held to the fire and not allowed to earn a living because he chose to protest. And people always talk about, hey, well, he's a millionaire quarterback, and he has money, so he gets paid a lot of money to play a game. So what? The guy has a skill set that allows him to make a lot of money. And in America, the land of capitalism, you're allowed to capitalize on your assets. That's what he does. His work pays him a lot of money. The fact that he makes a lot of money doesn't mean that he needs to turn a blind eye to what goes on in society, to shut up. No, in other words, you're caring for what happens in society is based on how much money you make. So the more money you make, the more detached you are from the real world. So you shouldn't care about what happens to somebody who's broke and gets shot by a police officer. No. Your bank account shouldn't have anything to do with what you decide to feel passionate about. And I think a lot of that feeds into the hatred for Kaepernick as well. People see him as a petulant, spoiled, rich athlete who hasn't had to struggle. So why should he care? What does he know about police brutality? He's never had to go through anything like that. Well, seeing as how what happened to Michael Bennett just happened, being an NFL player don't matter. Being rich and famous don't matter. If you big and black in the wrong place at the wrong time, whether you're an NFL player or a janitor, that could result in you being detained and possibly killed. And that crystallizes a lot of what we have been talking about over the last few months. It kind of crystallized with what happened with Michael Bennett. So that is the impetus for a lot of people wanting to boycott the NFL. And that's something that I feel very strongly about as well. So yes, I am going to boycott this week, and I'll go back to watching next week, and well, who knows? If I don't miss it and I have something else to do, hey, I might keep it going. We'll see. It'll be a fluid situation. Week to week, undetermined whether or not I will watch again until Kaepernick gets his fair shot. I'm not saying being given a job or anything like that, just an opportunity. It's highly unlikely now, since the season has started, that he'll get an opportunity to join the team, but there's always hope. Always hope. So that brings me to another issue, and that is the racial divide in the NFL. Now, I was watching First Take earlier today, and Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith and Herm Edwards had a nice discussion in regards to the racial divide and how nothing's really going to happen until a white player speaks up on behalf of this situation. Now, they did make it known that Chris Long, of course, he stepped forward after the Virginia incident, and made it clear that he stands in support of Colin Kaepernick. He said he would never kneel, which is fine, that's his business, but that he supports Colin Kaepernick. And a couple other lesser known fringe players also have taken a stand. I think one guy actually kneeled. Another guy placed his hand on the shoulder of Michael Bennett. One of his teammates did. But these are nondescript players who are not stars, so their voices are pretty much muted. And the point that Max Kellerman made, which is a great point, was that nothing's really going to happen until a white quarterback steps forward and says something. Something. It has to be Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, somebody who has done a lot in this league, makes a lot of money, is famous, is a star, for something to happen. It has to be a white quarterback. And the fact that it hasn't happened is deafening. It is deafening that it has not happened. And when you think about it, it's really infuriating and insulting to the black players in the league that these famous, rich, white quarterbacks are not taking a stand, saying anything. Even if you disagree, say something. Say something towards it. It's not happening. And that feeds into another problem. Or maybe not problem, but another issue. And that is the racial divide within the NFL along demographics. Now, I did a little research. And right now in the NFL, it is 66% black. 66% of the players are black. If you break it down between offense and defensive players, the defensive players, 82% black. Offense, 50%. If you break it down even closer than that, dig deeper inside the numbers, the majority of the white players are offensive line and quarterbacks and tight ends. Offensive line, well, tight end is part of the offensive line. So you have the offensive line / tight end and quarterback. But the rest of the demographic across the board, black. And on defense, it is really staggering. Like, for example, cornerback, the cornerback position, the defensive cornerback position in the NFL is 99% black. 99%. Linebackers, 81%. Defensive line positions, 79% black. Wide receiver, if you go to offense, the wide receivers, 88% black. Running backs, 80% black. So the highly skilled positions outside of quarterback are black players. And these famous, highly paid quarterbacks, white quarterbacks, i.e. Tom Brady, are big stars because they made their money on the backs of these black athletes. Tom Brady is a great quarterback, probably one of the greatest to ever do it. Not the greatest, but one of the greatest to ever do it. But I'm telling you right now, Tom Brady would not have a ring, not even one Super Bowl ring, if he played with only white players. He wouldn't have all the touchdown passes that he has if it wasn't for black players. He wouldn't have the success that he's had if it wasn't for those black players on defense keeping the other team down, getting him the ball back so he can do what he can do. Now, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong at all. These white quarterbacks are great. They earn their money. Well, they're well-deserved. They're great leaders and everything. No shade on them in that regard. But it is also very telling that when you have made your fame and fortune directly as a result of the efforts of black men, you should speak up and say something. Something. Especially Tom Brady. You're on the best team in the league. You won the Super Bowl last year. You need to step up and say something. But wait a minute. He's 45's buddy. So, he ain't going to say nothing. No. And that's deafening. Now, I will say this much. At least Aaron Rodgers said something. It was tacit, but he said something. But he hasn't been very, very vocal. But the rest of the quarterbacks, nothing. Matt Ryan, Atlanta, Chocolate City, Dirty Dirty. Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Mohamed Sanu, Tevin Coleman. All these black skill position players that Matt Ryan won the MVP because of, he ain't said a word. But these boys out there hustling for his ass. And he ain't said a word. Drew Brees, not a word. Eli Manning, silence. Ben Roethlisberger, he got, Le'Veon Bell, the best running back in the league. He's got Antonio Brown, one of the best receivers in the league. Martavis Bryant, another great receiver. They're putting in work for this dude, and not a peep. Phillip Rivers, not a peep. Matt Stafford, just got the biggest contract in the history of the NFL. Ain't won nothing. Nothing. But, he's got he had Calvin Johnson, and he's got Marvin Jones now. He's got Amir Abdullah and Golden Tate, Eric Ebron. All these brothers balling for him. Don't make him the richest quarterback in the history of the league. Nothing. Not a word. I don't like that. And that's a big part of the reason why I'm boycotting. I don't like that at all. You're making all this loot off of these black players, but you won't stand up for them. That's about some bullshit right there. And I'm damn mad about it. NFL owners. The league is 66% black. You make your billions on the blood, sweat, and guts of black men. I'm telling you right now, name, just off the top of your head, name 10 white superstars in the NFL. Or 10 white players off the top of your head. 20. Can you? Yeah, what? I've not mentioned most of them already in their quarterbacks. Tom Brady, Eli Manning, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. Who else? A white superstar. J.J. Watt. Who else? I can't think of nobody else. Off the top of my head, I can't. I have to do some digging. But you can run off black players ad nauseum. Odell Beckham. Jarvis Landry. Russell Wilson. Le'Veon Bell. Antonio Brown. Julio Jones. DeAndre Hopkins. Todd Gurley. I mean, it's on and on and on. Vontaze Burfict. Michael Bennett. Martellus Bennett. Just on and on and on. Jameis Winston. You can just rattle them off all day long. Sterling Shepard. I'm still going. Tyrod Taylor. Ballers. All of them. Larry Fitzgerald. David Johnson. Ballers. I probably named about 15 right there. That's just off the top of my head. If I think about it, I can run off 50 more. But these brothers can go out and put their bodies on the line, bust their ass. These quarterbacks make all this loot, but not stand up for them. And not stand up for them directly. Just a symbolic gesture. You don't have to take a knee, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's asked you to take a knee. Say something, though. Step up. Say, hey, I don't agree with what Kaepernick did or the way that he did it, but I think he's right. There is a racial divide. There is inequality. We need to do something about it. But no, it's not going to happen. And that's why, and I said this a few weeks ago, it would have been great if all the black players boycotted week 1. Not the entire season, just week 1, as a show of power that the black athlete has over the NFL. A power that they are unwilling or too afraid to wield. I know it's easy as a fan, someone who's not making millions of dollars, to say, yeah, just, sit out a week, miss that paycheck. I know it's easy to say from the outside looking in. But these dudes got bills to pay like everybody else. They got families to feed. They got bigger responsibilities probably than I have, you have. So it's kind of selfish to expect anyone to not take a paycheck to make me feel good. Because I know I wouldn't skip a paycheck. I need my money just like everybody else needs their money. So I get that. But sometimes when you're in a position like this, you got to do something. You got to step outside of your comfort zone. And it's got to be about something. It's got to be about something. But the black player, for all intents and purposes, has the NFL by the nuts. They really do. If every black player walked off the field today, there could not be an NFL season. There ain't enough white players out there that they could put on the field to have an NFL season. Wouldn't happen. And I'm telling you right now, don't nobody want to watch a football game where it's just white guys. There's a reason why there's only a few white running backs in the league, or a few big time white wide receivers in the league. Hell, less than 1% of the defensive backs in the league are white. The defensive skill positions, mostly all black. You might see a white linebacker or defensive lineman sprinkled in here and there, but it's few and far between. Not nearly enough to field a 22-man squad or a 50-man roster, a 53-man roster. It ain't happening. You want to watch a bunch of white boys play football? Watch Harvard play Yale. See where that gets you. When last time the Harvard-Yale game was televised nationally? Not. Because college football is a microcosm, or it mirrors pro football. I did the numbers as well. I looked at the number one college football conference, which is the SEC. 70% black. And most of the white guys on these teams, guys that never play anyway. The white guys on these teams, they're backloaded, walk-ons, scout team players. So they do count as the roster, but they don't play. They don't contribute. College football, major college football, is predominantly black. You got a few white guys sprinkled in, and once again, quarterbacks and the occasional running back or linebacker, offensive line. So if all the college football players were to sit out, it would shut the NCAA football the fuck down. But I know it's not going to happen. Wishful thinking, but it's not going to happen. And I really wouldn't want that to happen anyway, other than the first week, just as a show of power. Get back to work. Give the fans what they want, because football is a great sport. I've loved it all my life, and I'll continue to watch it. I'll watch with a side eye, but I'll continue to watch it because it's a great sport, and it's not their fault. It's not the players' fault, so they shouldn't have to take a huge loss because of what's happening in our country. But when one of your brethren steps up and takes one for the team, drops to his knee, and loses his career behind it, something needs to be done by the players, to at least in a show of solidarity. Something has to give. And if I'm the only person who's skipping out on football this weekend, so be it. Who cares, really? I care. That's about it. Nobody else should care. Maybe they should. I don't know. I'm nobody. Who gives a shit if I don't watch football? Nobody. But if there are 10 million people just like me out there taking the same stand this weekend, then that might make a difference. You never know. But I just love to see the black players in the league unite and do something. And I love to see the white quarterbacks, the stars, do something, anything. Because you never know where that change is going to come from. But it's got to start somewhere. And Max Kellerman was right today. Nothing significant is going to happen until a white quarterback steps up and says something. NFL football is back tonight. Patriots versus Chiefs. The Patriots are the favorites once again to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And I'm not going to bet against them. I can't, because every year they seem to be right there in the mix. I think Oakland has a good chance if their defense can be somewhat competitive. I think that Oakland has a great shot. The Houston Texans, no, because they don't have a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is a rookie, so I don't expect a whole lot out of him as far as being able to take his team to the Super Bowl. But the Texans have a good defense, so they will be competitive, but they won't be enough. They won't have enough at the quarterback position to make a serious challenge at the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh Steelers, they got a quarterback, they got running back, they got receiver. They're loaded, but they were loaded last year too and couldn't beat the Patriots. So, but of those three teams, the Texans, Raiders, or Steelers, I think the Raiders have the better chance to unseat the Patriots. The Chiefs, depending on how they look tonight, may have an opportunity as well. They have a solid defense. They got a solid quarterback, game manager, in Alex Smith. But they lost their top running back, so that might be an issue. He's going for the year, so they may have some issues running the ball. And they don't have a strong passing attack. So I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to put together enough cohesiveness on their offense to be consistent and to beat the good teams. So I'm picking the Raiders to unseat the Patriots and take the AFC. In the NFC, I can't go with the Falcons. I think they'll still be traumatized by what happened in the Super Bowl, and it's hard to repeat. Go to back-to-back Super Bowls, especially in the NFC, especially the NFC South, where you got the Panthers and the Buccaneers and the Saints. A lot of attrition in that league. They cannibalize each other. They make themselves stronger through tough competition, but they cannibalize themselves at the same time. So I don't think any team out of the South is going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. I know the last 2 years has been the Panthers and then the Falcons, but I don't see the Falcons. I don't see the Falcons have a solid year at all. I see them being maybe an 8-8, 9-7 type team. I think they're gonna blow some games that they should win. They have a new offensive coordinator, and that might cause some issues as well. New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys out of the East. New York should have a solid defense. Eli Manning's a great quarterback. He has Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, and Brandon Marshall. Their running game is suspect at best, but their passing game should be on point. So I think that the Giants are a good bet to come out of the NFC. The Dallas Cowboys, it really depends on Ezekiel Elliott. If he's able to play all year long, then I give them a real good shot to come out of the NFC as well. Out west, everybody's talking about the Seattle Seahawks, as well they should. You got the Legion of Boom, once again, making another run, but that defense is getting kind of old. And Russell Wilson, he's a great quarterback. He's a Super Bowl quarterback. So on offense, I think they should be solid. but I think their defense is going to take a step backwards. Folks are saying their defense is going to be better because they picked up Sheldon Richardson from the Jets. I don't see that. The Packers and the Vikings out of the Central should be competitive, but you need to watch out for the Lions. The Lions' defense is much improved. Their offense is more of dink and dunk, which is kind of surprising because Matt Stafford has a very strong arm. You think they'd be more of a down-the-field team, but they're not. Their running game is suspect as well. They don't have a big-time threat, vertical threat at receiver since Calvin Johnson left. So I think Detroit's options are limited. But the NFC is pretty much wide open. Wide open. The Cardinals could possibly do something. You got David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown, Carson Palmer. So they have some good juice on offense as well. But I think it's going to come out of the East. I think it's going to be the New York Giants. I think they meet Seattle in the championship game. And they're going to beat them. I think New York is going to have home field advantage. And they're going to come out on top. So I'm picking the Raiders versus the Giants in the Super Bowl. My prediction is that the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl. Eli Manning will be 3-0 in the Super Bowl. And when he hoists the Super Bowl trophy, I'm predicting that Eli Manning won't say anything about the black players. Football season starts tonight. Go ahead and watch. I won't be watching. This is what Lonzo thinks. Please subscribe. Questions, comments, concerns, hit me off. Twitter, @WhatLonzoThinks. Email, whatlonzothinks@gmail.com. Hit me up on Patreon. Drop some dimes on me. Once again, this is what Lonzo thinks. Bye.